Okay, good evening, everyone, and thank you all for jumping on tonight's call. I'm so excited to be hosting tonight. So I'm sure I've met most of you, but if I haven't met you before, my name is Danny Stevens, and I'm Executive National Vice President. And as I said, I am going to be your host for tonight for our third week in a row. So just make sure we're all recording here and getting started. Please, if there is any internet issues, please just let me know. It is pouring with rain here and I haven't got the best reception. So I'm going to pray that this all works out. So I need you all to give me some positive energy that we do have great internet connection tonight. So I'm going to, sorry, I'll just turn this one off too. I'm going to start tonight's call by just going back over Emily's fantastic call last week and just making sure that everybody has done their, calls to action that they needed to do. So the first and foremost, what we all need to do, we actually need to do this one every single week, so I hope that you've all done that, is print off and complete your weekly tracker throughout the week. So you need to be extra intentional about adding names to your list every week. So I hope all of you have been doing that this week, and I'm sure a lot of you have. Plan at least one deliberate encounter daily this week or the last week just gone, where you intentionally build an existing relationship or create a new one. So have you been doing that? And do you have your I story ready? So do you, are you ready to, you're ready to go when somebody asks you, what do you do? And that is a really, really important one. And the third call to action was listen to them, that the week before's Go for Gold call, the ABCs are sponsoring. So, because that was a great follow-on call from Em's training. So I hope all of you in the last week have actually, gone through and done all of your calls to action, because there will be some new ones tonight. What I do want to say too is I've absolutely loved seeing everybody's stories on the page, and they're interacting with everybody. And, it has been, I think, for a lot of people, quite an emotional week. A lot of people being really raw and really honest. And that's what this whole program is about, for everybody to feel supported, feel like they're in that safe space that they can share. And so nobody ever feels alone, because sometimes, sorry, I'm just going to, sorry, somebody's just logged in on my meeting here and then something's happened. Just give me 1 sec. Sorry, I think we're good. So, yes, I was saying it is that safe place just to feel that you're not on your own, because I know with this business, because we do, you are on your own sometimes at home, you can feel very isolated. So it's really great that we've got that safe space to, to interact with each other and connect. So I'm going to get stuck into tonight's training, and my training is habits of a leader. So habits and traits of a successful leader. So tonight what we're going to do is talk about the traits and the habits of successful leaders, because I know we're all growing in this business. But what I want us all together is to grow into really extraordinary leaders, okay? Not ordinary leaders. I want to be extraordinary leaders all together. I want us to be known to become those extraordinary leaders. So leadership isn't about title in this business. So if you're sitting on the call tonight thinking, I'm not an area manager yet, or I'm not a regional vice president yet, or I'm not a national vice president yet, so I can't be a leader, I'm sorry to break it to you, but you all are. So now you need to start acting like the extraordinary leaders that I know you can be, because as I said, it doesn't matter what title you are all a leader. So it doesn't matter if you're a team of one. It doesn't matter if you've got a team of 10,000. You can all be leaders now. Okay, so you can apply all of these habits I'm going to talk about tonight and become successful leaders. So before I go through all the traits of becoming a successful leader, I want you to ask yourself this question first. First, do you desire to lead? Okay, and secondly, is your purpose for doing Arbonne big enough that you want to grow and apply all of these necessary steps it's going to take for you to become that extraordinary leader? Because honestly, some of you may be sitting there going, I'm not prepared to grow, or I'm not ready to do that yet. That's fine. I'm talking tonight about people who really want to step up and be, that extraordinary leader. So what my goal tonight is to help you all become better at what you do. So how I'm going to do that is I'm going to focus on 10 qualities of great leadership and some mindset shifts, because there's going to be some huge mindset shifts to do this that you'll need to take place to get there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through the 10 habits to become that successful leader. And at the end of each habit, I'm actually going to ask you all a question. Now, don't stress if, to write all of this down and to write these questions down. I ask you, because at the end I'm actually going to give you a call to action and I will give you all of these questions. So don't stress about that. So the first habit that I'm going to talk about that you all need to have, or the first trait that you all need to have, is you would have heard this word a lot, is being authentic. Now, that word does get thrown around a lot, and some people go, well, what does it actually mean to be authentic? So what I would say, and how I describe being authentic, is just being true to yourself, or being yourself completely. And that is my biggest goal in this business, no matter if I'm a consultant or a national vice president, is just always to be myself. So when you look at great leaders, they're all real and they're all relatable. So what you want to do, and this is a big thing I want you to think about, is you want to be the same behind closed doors as you are in front of a crowd. Okay? So act how you would at home, act in front of people. You want to be the same all the time. That's how you truly stay authentic, because strong leaders treat people the way they want to be treated. Leaders also stay true to their core values. Okay, and this is a big one, and this is something I really had to learn and really had to think about what they are. You really need to think about what your core values are. That way, when you have to make a decision as a leader, because there's going to be so many decisions you have to make, it is easy to stay true to your core values, or it's very easy then to answer any decisions that you need to be made. So what I mean by that, and I really want you to think about now, what are your core values? So, you know, are your core values your family? Is it your friends? Is it your health? Is it your exercise? Is it your honesty? Is it you being reliable? Is it you being, staying true to your word? Whatever it is, when anybody asks you a question or asks you to do something, the easiest way to answer is, does that stay true to my core values? And as a leader, you're really going to have to make those decisions. So my question to you is, are you a person of character, or are you a person of compromise? So do you stay true to your word, or are you always true to yourself, or do you compromise who you are in front of others or for others? So do you also treat others the way you want to be treated? And do you know what your core values are? Because if you know what your core values are, you're more likely to attract people into your business that have the same core values as you. So you really, really make sure you know what your core values are. So that's the first one, is being authentic. Number 2 is belief. And again, you will hear this word over and over and over again in this business. So extraordinary leaders have belief, and you'll see it time and time again. Belief in ourselves as leaders, or belief just in ourselves in general. Belief in Arbonne is a big one, and belief in network marketing is also really, really big as well. So if we're going to lead our teams, we need to have true belief in all 3, or we can't lead our team successfully. So success is all about, obviously we know this, growing ourselves, and when we become leaders, it's also about like growing others as well. We have to help other people grow. This belief that we have in all these 3 things must be so real that others can see it in you. Okay, you need to feel this belief in you all of the time. So whether you're at home, whether you're in the car, whether you're at school pickup, whether you're at the gym, wherever you are, you need to really feel this belief. And I'm going to be honest, and some of you on the call may feel this way. At the start of my business, I didn't always have, that true belief. I didn't know how to get it. And so my belief, was often borrowed by somebody. And when I say it was borrowed by somebody, it was borrowed by somebody I was listening to on an audio, or somebody I was listening to on SoundCloud, or a book I was reading at the time. But what I always tried to make sure I was doing was outwardly feeling this belief. I made sure that when I went into every presentation, every follow-up, every Discover Arbonne, every training, or even just when I was out and about, that I was always in the right headspace. So whoever I was speaking to could actually feel what I was saying, not just hear it. Okay, so that's a big one. You don't just want people to hear what you're saying, you want them to actually feel it inside. And actually a big one was, and I thank you, Marg, if you're on the call, thank you for posting that post you posted today, because she talked about when Carrie and I first presented to her, and it wasn't really what we were saying. She wasn't really hearing what we were saying. She was feeling what we were saying. And it was not that feel, what she felt was exactly what, made her join the business, really. So that's something I really want you to really, really focus on. So my question to you is, do you honestly feel like there is a crack in your belief somewhere? Okay, or is there a crack in your activity somewhere? Are you surrounding yourself with the right people? And when I say that, I don't mean physically. Are you surrounding yourself with the right people? Are you surrounding with the right people who you're listening to, who you're reading? All of those sorts of things is who we're surrounding ourselves with as well. So, are you making the right choices in your business, or good choices in your business? when you're choosing to surround yourself with the right people. So that's my question to you there about belief. The next one is thinking abundantly. And this, you know, without a doubt is my favourite thing to do. Favorite thing to do. But I'm also aware, and for most people is actually it's one of the hardest things to do is to think abundantly. So extraordinary leaders learn how to think abundantly. They're not born with it, they don't all have it, but they learn how to think abundantly. And this is where we all really need to work on, you know, all of that chatter and all of that talk that's going on in our heads constantly, because we all have it constantly, but it's what we listen to and what we focus on there. And I'm sure you've all heard of, you know, Tara Brandsma, who was is an EMVP from Colorado, and she was actually our keynote speaker at AAC here in Australia. And I don't know if it's Tara or Tara, it's which way to say it. She's the queen when it comes to thinking abundantly. And I remember her saying, she said, if we all focus on growing, we will grow into abundance or into that abundance mode. So that's what we've always got to be working on ourselves and always growing. That's how we learn to get in that abundance mode. She encourages us all to always look at things positively as well. That also helps with abundance, and circumstances in the best light. You know, always positively. And I remember her giving this great example of just a way to do it. We can do it in everyday life. Say you're driving along in your car, which we all do, and someone may cut us off, or somebody may you know, overtake us or annoy us in the car. Instead of thinking, you know, oh my God, what an idiot, what are they doing? You know, all of these sorts of things. We've got to think about, well, maybe they're in a rush, or maybe somebody's sick that they've got to get to, or, you know, we've got to try and think of the positives of why they may be doing it, not the negative side of it. That's just a small example. We can do this in every part of our life. But that's a really big way of how we've got to just change our mindset and change our way of thinking. Because if we chase abundance will chase us back. And that's what we're all after. We all want that abundant life and that abundant, you know, existence. So the voice of the chatter that you listen to and that you believe will be your future, and it will be your future experience. Okay, so I'm going to say that again. The voice or the chatter that you are listening to or that you're thinking and what you believe will be your future and your future experience. So my question here on abundance is, what type of thinking do you have? Is it of lack or is it of abundance? Okay, so just want you to think about that. Do you make things, or do you see things in a positive light, or do you see most things in a negative light? So it's a great way we can change our mindset there. Number 4 of a habit of a leader is actually commitment. So without a doubt, leaders commit. Okay, so extraordinary leaders are committed before they even see outcomes. Leaders have goals and just go for them, being solely focused on it. We see this all the time. They're committed to the daily do and the daily growth that is needed. So I know we talk about, you know, personal development and, you know, we should do half an hour every day and you know, and leaders do that, and they'll commit to that no matter what. And I even think about now, you know, for myself as a national executive, national vice president, what my daily growth is. And I honestly, and I do it without even Guys, can you hear me now? Okay, I'm just going to turn my video off for a sec. All right, I'm just going to turn my video off. And I'll just get, you can hear Mel? Okay, beautiful. Can somebody just say, actually, I'm just going to say, Emily, if you're there, can you just put in the chat feed what you heard up until number 4? Okay, thanks. I'm just going to go back to number 4. Okay, so sorry if you've heard this bit again, but I'm just going to go back to commitment. And thanks, Emma. If you can just message me again, that would be great. Okay, so commitment. So sorry, guys. So leaders commit, okay? So extraordinary leaders are committed before they see outcomes. Leaders have goals and they just go for them, you know, solely being focused on that goal. They're committed to the daily do and they're committed to the daily growth. So, and they're committed to the daily growth. So, and I was giving an example before when I cut out. So, you know, we do say to everybody, commit to that half an hour personal development every day. And, you know, leaders do commit to that half an hour personal development every day. I've done that from day dot, and I have not ever faltered on that. And I'll be honest now, because it's become part of my daily habit, I honestly do about 2 hours every single day of personal development. And that consists of so many different things. And I'm not saying everybody has to go out and do that straight away, but it is part of my day. It is part of my growth, and it is just part of what I do. And I think as you develop into these leaders, this is, you know, you want to do more and more and more, and you sort of become addicted to it. So that's me committing to that daily do and that daily growth. And our teams are motivated when they can see us committed and consistent. Or another way you could say, you could see that our teams are motivated when they see us, working in the trenches alongside them. This is how you sort of could commit. So sometimes the decision we make as leaders don't always please everyone. I know for a fact, and I know some of you on the call, that some decisions I make, you guys don't like, or my team don't like, or the decisions, that the leadership team that we all make together, I know not everybody likes them. But if we're all committed to the bigger vision and the bigger picture of what we're doing, and if you guys see us working alongside of you, like down in the trenches, you could say, it makes it easier for people to trust you as a leader, okay? So the question I have for you there on commitment is, do you have a habit of starting things and not finishing them? Is a big one with commitment. Do you sometimes get stuck in the organising or the planning, of your business? And be conscious of how you use your time and commit to being the best, the best version of yourself, which is what we always strive to be. So some of you may even need a bit of help doing this, having that commitment and doing that daily do. So don't be afraid to buddy up with someone or to be accountable to somebody if that's what's going to help you. But one thing I would say is don't wait for someone to reach out to you. You reach out to somebody you want to buddy up with or commit with, or, take that responsibility with. Okay, so number 5, I'll just double check you can all hear me. Number 5, hardworking. And leaders, and when I say hardworking, I don't mean you have to work hard all the time, but leaders are committed to putting in the work and the time that's needed to create what they want. Okay, we all have people we look up to in this business, either, it could be in this industry, or sometimes actually could be out of this industry. It could even be someone like an athlete that we look up to, but a quality they all have is they commit. Okay, they do the work that's necessary to create what they want. They're smart about their use of time to achieve the excellence they want as well. There's going to be lots of obstacles along the way. I'll promise you that. But I can promise you there's also going to be some really great memories created along the way too. And I truly believe if you put in the work, the results will come. Okay, but I also know, for sure, that the results won't come if you don't put in the work. Okay, so we all really have to know if we actually want the result, we know we have to do the do. We all have stories we can use as excuses. We all have obstacles to overcome. Some of them I know even make us cry, and sometimes we just have to laugh about them. But I think the beauty of this journey is that will make us better and stronger leaders to help our teams. I've seen this, with people in our organisations that elevate, that then they lose their promotions or they lose their title, then they get back up and then they lose it again. But looking back, they all say it is the best thing that ever happened to them. It doesn't feel like it at the time, but it has made them stronger leaders, and it has helped them help their team go through the same thing. So leadership is a balancing act, but it's taking full ownership and full responsibility of what you do, okay? This business is a do as I do business. It's not a do as I say, okay? So we have to do the do. We have to earn our leadership every day, because we all know the title does not give it to us. Just because I'm an MVP doesn't mean I'm a leader. We have to earn that leadership every single day in what we do. So my question to you is, I want you to ask yourself, are you a great cheerleader or a great coach on the sidelines of your business? Or are you actually out there playing on the court with your team? And that's how you're going to earn respect as a leader. Okay, so number 6 is be accountable. So leaders are accountable, and they do take that full responsibility, like I was talking about before, of their business. So this goes for when things are up, and things are going great, but it's also when things are down and things are going to shit, really. We've got to take responsibility at both ways. It's not always going to be great and it's not always going to be bad. We've got to take responsibilities both ways. The best leaders can recognise the need for change before it becomes an issue in their business. And extraordinary leaders also don't take things personally, and they never ever blame. So they praise in public, but they also address problems in private. Okay, this is a big one. So with that, my question to you is, do you find yourself pointing your finger a lot, or wanting always to put blame on others, or put blame on the company, or put blame on the product, or, you know, are you that type of person? Or, you know, are you praising more than you expect to be praised as well? What type of leader are you, and what do you find yourself doing the most? Now, number 7 is confidence, and this is a big one that does come up in our business a lot too, because extraordinary leaders, they radiate confidence. So great leaders are self-assured and very confident in themselves, and they aren't always, and it's not always, also how they appear, how they're feeling on the inside, but they do radiate that confidence. So we want to, with these type of leaders, these are the type of people we want to be around, these type of people. So when leaders are confident, teams and prospects are drawn to them and take on their advice. And that's what I was talking about before too. Even, again, you can borrow confidence for a while until you gain it. So when you're in a presentation, that's what people are drawn to. They're going to trust you and they're going to believe you because you radiate that confidence. So when leaders are challenged, they don't give in that easily, or they don't give in easily. They are, because they're so confident in the choices that they have made. But they do take on feedback, and they do listen to others as though they listen to others, they take on the feedback. They don't think they're always right. They may be confident, but they're definitely not arrogant, and there is a big difference there. So, you know, at the same time, when leaders are proven wrong, they're also willing to take responsibility as well. So all businesses and brands, they all have their challenge, no matter what the business is or what the brand is. We all know that, but true leaders show strength and they show calmness. So our teams are going to take cues from us on how we react to things. So like I was talking about in the previous one, think about how do you react when something does go wrong with the website, or people can't, people are getting stuck in orders, or the products might not be available, or, things like that. So you think about what type of leader you are and how you react. Be aware of how you're reacting, because with this confidence that you have and your team are following, also comes influence. You're going to influence your team because you have that confidence. You've got to be really careful about what you're saying, because you are quite influential in your team and they're really going to listen to what you say and take on what you say. So my question to you is, do you have confidence in yourself, and do you have confidence in your business? If no, what are you going to do to work on it? Okay, because I know a lot of us don't have it, but what are you going to do to work on it? Are you still committed to that larger goal that you have, like being an MVP, no matter what the setback that you have, whether it is lose a title or not, and what can you do to become more confident? So what I want you to, don't get a false sense of security, is thinking, I'm going to become an MVP, that's going to give me confidence. It doesn't happen. You actually have to work on this confidence and have to work out what you're going to do to get confident, because just because you're an MVP, that will not give it to you. Number 8 is communication. So great leaders are what you call persuasive communicators. So they have the ability to communicate the right message and the right information at the right time. Okay, so to communicate effectively, we have to learn to listen more than we talk. And we also have to customize our approach with each person, because we all know they've got so many different personality types in our business. So whether we are presenting to somebody or we're communicating with our teams, we do have to customize who we're speaking to. And we've got to learn how to do that as well. When we communicate, we need to strive to inspire people, motivate people, reassure people, and when necessary, we have to learn how to be direct with people as well. And that can sometimes be scary to some people, but you can learn how to do this. Now, intuition, I do think, plays a huge, huge part in communication. So you really do need to start tuning into your intuition. So sometimes we need to rely on what they call, your gut instinct for answers and communication. I've thought about this a lot, and I'm not sure if this is something that can be taught, but my biggest advice to anybody talking about gut instinct or intuition is just to really start to learn to pay attention. So learn to listen to some of the repetitive thoughts that may be going in on your head, or learn to pay attention to the way you feel about someone, or when you're speaking to somebody, or when you're in a certain situation. Try not to ignore it, and really just learn to listen to some of those things. So my question to you there on communication is, are your ears open more than your mouth? is a big one. And are you paying attention to that gut instinct that you do have? Number 9 is optimism, or being optimistic. The very best leaders have positive energy, okay? We can't control everything that happens to us, but what we can control is how we react to things. So we have to learn to not to take everything so seriously. And I really want you to put things in perspective and not to take things on personally. So when situations come up, really try and put things in perspective to think, how bad is this situation, or what can I do to make this better, or really how big is this in the scheme of things. So our job in this business, or our job as leaders, is not only to lift ourselves up, but also, to lift others up. So optimistic leaders seem to invigorate others easily and just dive straight into things. You'll know when you're being optimistic. It's when your teams are having a whole lot of fun while building a business. And that's when you know, even when things are good, when things are bad, you're still having fun while doing it. But on the other hand, you'll also know when you're not being optimistic. It's when you and your teams are actually not enjoying what you're doing. Okay, so my question to you is, can you improve your energy? Do you genuinely want to help others, or are you just acting for your own benefit in your business? What else we got here? Oh, number 10. So number 10 is our last one, and it's actually inspiring others. Okay, so her last tip is to inspire others. The biggest roles we have as leaders and mentors in Arbonne is actually inspiring others. And as leaders, this is our biggest role. We inspire others by being generous. We inspire others by being real, and that's exactly what's happening on our page at the moment. This is what's inspiring each other: is being real, it's being raw, it's telling the truth, it's telling compelling stories, and by painting a huge picture, so our teams and our prospects can see what's possible for them. So that's what we really have to get good at, telling our story when we are presenting to people, because people need to see the big picture and what is possible for them, okay? As leaders, we must have the biggest vision in our team to give our teams a picture of where we're headed, okay? So my last question to you is, what is the vision for your business? Does your team know where you are going, where they are going with you? And even think about, how many Mercedes are parked in your driveway? Okay, can you see that? This was my vision, and you can ask any of my consultants that I joined, especially at the start of my business. Without a doubt, I had the vision so clear in my driveway of what that would look like and how many cars would be in there. And there was just no doubt, because that vision was so clear. So I don't know if anybody can comment on there, but they can if they remember me doing that. And I know many of you on this call have many of these traits already that I've talked about tonight, but I also know that every single one of us can definitely work on absolutely all of them. Okay, so I'm going to give you two calls to action. First one, again, is print off and complete your weekly tracker throughout the week. And again, be extra intentional about adding names to your list. That's your first one that you need to do every week, guys. But after this call, what I'm going to do is I'm going to post all of the questions, the 10 questions that I've gone through on the Roadmap to Airy page. And what I want you to do as your call to action is actually go through and copy and paste and answer all of the questions. Okay, it can be 1, 2, 3 words, whatever, as much detail as you want, but I want you to answer those questions honestly. And I want you to send them through to whoever you sent through your, your why and your presentation to before our next call, so before next Thursday night. That's what I want you to do there. So I'm just going to jump back on and see if you can see me, because I feel like rude that I haven't been able to see my face. I hope you've all enjoyed this call. I hope you've all been able to take something away from it, and I hope it's all helped you in some way. I really enjoyed seeing you all tonight, and I cannot wait to see all of your faces next week and to see all the stories this week and see what this week brings. But thanks so much, guys. Have a great night, and I'll see you all next week.